When my dad passed in 2016, I was in Florida. I brought my camera to his hospital room when he was unconscious. I didn't know at that time, obviously, that it would be the last time I see him, but I took self portraits with him. And that was the crux of a body of work that I did called 2728, which was the second half of my 27th year and the first half of my 28th year where my dad had passed and what I was going through. And I wanted to make sure that I noticed that. My name is Dylan Barnes. I'm a photographer. I've been living in Busan for 6 years. Lately, I would say that my latest development is kind of working into like a fine art or a narrative type of photography, storytelling and things like that. I first got into photography when I was a junior or senior in high school, at a time in high school where I felt like I never really like fit into one single friend group. It opened the door for me to find my place in a community, basically in the underground music scene, mostly like underground punk and hardcore shows and things like that. It like gave me like a really quick gateway to like making friends and like making connections. I don't really have to go to shows with anyone else. I could just kind of go by myself, take pictures and kind of make connections that way. It's been such a big part of my life from then until now. I take pictures just as the world is, whether that be like through street photos or I'm having a coffee with somebody. I just say, hey, look up real quick. And I just want to take your picture. I think that people, when you freeze a moment in that way, it brings a memory to people that they didn't know they had. I feel like I used to make images for people who weren't me, but I think that's changed. And I think that was like a craving of like more connection. Like I was taking pictures of people's in bands and I was sending them to the bands. That's a very like, I want to connect with you sort of thing. But I think when it comes to more of my like artistic process of photography, I want the people who understand it or to find a connection to it to like gravitate to me instead of me going outward. So like I put it out, I'm inviting you to a space. And if you accept that invitation, I think that's like a really beautiful thing. During COVID, me and a buddy of mine created a magazine for film photographers around the world. And we were able to feature 12 photographers and we just self-published, self-printed and just sold as many copies as we could. That's another thing that's like really important to me is like trying to find a way of like taking these images and putting them into the world in some sort of like tangible way. And so whether it's like, you know, setting up an event where it's like I'm bringing people to see what I've done or what I've made. I really enjoy that. I think over the last 10 years or so, my photography has taken on a post-documentary style. I intertwine personal narratives with broader cultural and historical themes. I focus on subjects of place, memory, grief, and the passage of time. I've had a few projects like documenting labor exploitation at a deserted copper mine nearby here in Korea. I've worked on projects that reflect on losing both of my parents, visiting my Florida hometown. I aim to capture the emotional weight of spaces that are tied to personal and collective histories. The latest project that I want to work on involves a family history of mine that I didn't know that I had until my mother passed in 2019. My mom had a silver box in her closet that had all these artifacts, pictures, letters, between my biological father and her. I wasn't privy to that information before. This box has stayed in a closet and it hasn't seen the world. These memories, these things have lived until now, but nobody knows that they exist, but they're extremely meaningful. And so the latest project is going to take the artifacts in that box, as well as images that I took in between, those 3 years. And I'm going to mix that media together to kind of tell a narrative that I think essentially in the end will tell a coming of age story. I went home after my mother passed and I knew that I was going to go take pictures. And when I'm walking around the house, I'm not really, obviously I'm conscious of framing it. It was more of like an objective view. I wasn't very emotional while I was taking pictures. I was just being objective. I was just documenting. However, through the process of getting those images back, it's like you're creating pieces of a puzzle when you're making images, but then you still have to put that puzzle together afterward. And I think that's what making a body of work kind of is. My mother had a lot of struggles that went unrecognized for a long time. And I think she felt that she was unseen in certain regards of her life, whether it was like when she was a teenager, she had to like live on her own, or she had to drop out of school and then she got her GED. And it's like, I definitely see her more of like a whole person, why she was the way she was, or why did she care about the things she cared about. It really pulls the veil back on a lot of the things that parents hide from their kids, for better or worse. But now that I'm an adult and now she's gone, like the show's over in a certain sense. And it's like, now you get to see, you know, the cast and the crew and all the mechanisms behind the scenes. And you're like, oh, that's how the magic show works. Or like, that's how the movie's made. That's kind of how it feels. I don't think the grieving process or like the reflection process will ever totally end, but I think I could feel through photography, I've been able to like segment these things and like healthily compartmentalize and give myself some sort of therapy of like, it's okay. Like, this is just what it is. My friend who lives and works in Chicago, every time I talk to him, he's always leveling up his work. He's a photographer, but now he's like definitely more of like a visual artist. And he reappropriates images from the past to make modern works of art. None of it's his, but like how he puts it together is his. It's a really cool juxtaposition of whose work is what does it mean then to what it means now. I wouldn't be able to make this project if it wasn't for photography. I wouldn't be able to heal this way. I wouldn't be able to process this way. I don't take that for granted, I guess is what I'm saying. And I think to bring it back to photography, I've been stuck, I would say, since like COVID. I had a couple of really big exhibitions that had really strict parameters. I opened up the exhibition space at Sangsang Madang. I had a really nice set of images that were influenced by Robert Adams' Summer Nights Walking. It was so clear like what that body of work was supposed to be. And then all of a sudden, I lost the rules. Again, like going back to like, someone passes and you leave something behind in this world, and it's like, what did you leave behind? What did you make? What did you contribute? There's not a lot of text in this book, but just by reading this one page, it could tell you everything about this book. I wanted to confirm the existence of myself and the existence of time, and I consciously began photographing all the past around me since 2020. The process began with all the places where I was born and I grew up, the house I lived in, and extended to and included time spent with my family, photos from the past, and even the past of my father and my mother. Through this process, I became aware of my strong attachment to my past. This attachment represents a resistance to the disappearance of everything erased by time, an important theme in my photography. The continuation of taking photographs is an act of capturing and visualizing time as the past and questioning the meaning of time through the existence of photography. And that's by Sadai Yokoyama. But like when I read that, it just encapsulated everything that I just told you. But that's beautiful. I don't know who this person is, but like, this is why I take photos. And that's amazing. That's really amazing. And it's like a deja vu that we've never had.